We need to free Palestine from becoming who is a settled colony of Israel, and Zionism is based on the fascist elements of a Jewish culture. And we need a solution. Some people propose an independent nation state of Israel or two-state solution. As an anarchist, we offer a solution called no states. We still believe that Palestine should be independent from domination of settled colonialism in Israel, but we reject the idea of a centralized state because it will oppress its own people in the long run. Since its inception, Israel has been oppressing and maltreatment of the Palestinian people for its initial war of independence from 1947 to 48, through the Six-Day War of 1967, through the Gaza War of 2009. Israel has threatened the Palestinians as inferior and often as non-existent, expanded its territorial borders, and used extreme brutality to suppress resistance. The violence against the Gaza Freedom Flotilla earlier this year was new only because Israel was seen to be giving people from other countries a taste what it has been dashing out with the Palestinians as a regular basis for generations. And now knowing the fact that even though Israel it was originally founded by Jewish atheist socialists, they abandoned their socialist and atheist value, becoming religiously orthodox and expanding more fascistic elements in the government, segregation among the sexes between man and woman, racial segregation between the Israelis and the Palestinians, and giving arms to Nazis in Ukraine, of all things. And their second largest, and China's second largest arms supply is Israel. It shows you that imperialism and colonialism still is inherent within our societies. Why is this so? The fundamental concept of the Blight of the Palestinians was a decision of the Zionists, aka Jewish nationalist movement, in the wake of World War II to establish a Jewish state in the British territory of Palestine. All else is from this. Without the Jewish state, there would be no need for ethnic cleansing, no drive for territorial expansion, and no point to discrimination treatment of the Palestinians. There have been other problems, but not this one. The Jewish state concept is problematic because it defines Israel as a state of a Jewish people rather than a state of its citizens. It is moral and political equivalent of a white Australian or Islamic republic. Israel's national institutions systematically decriminalize against the Palestinian people, with Palestinian citizens of Israel treated as inconvenience at best, at worst as enemies within. A further problem is that since Zionist ideology carry a particular idea of territory of Israel, although different Zionist perspectives define the boundaries differently, there has been a constant drive to expand the state of claim that destroys territory, that both the settlement of the West Bank and the apartheid wall. What is to be done? Israel defenders point to Nazi genocide as a justification for a Jewish state, but true wrongs don't make a right, even if the initial wrong is an unequivocal evil as the Holocaust. Further, there is neither a apartheid regimes of the Arab state nor the crimes of Palestinian political leadership invalidate the rights of the Palestinian people. Whether in Israel, in the occupied territories, or the diaspora, what is required is the solution which provides justice for all, including for justice for the Jewish Israelites who despise everything have right as well, and also the Samaritans, which many Jews do not consider them Jews. Though the Zionists had, like Australians, built a nation on the stolen land, or the United States, or France, or basically everything outside Western Europe, a nation has been built. The essential study point is that there can be no such solution of the Palestinian question with the confines of capitalism, where there are interpreted people as there are in Israel/Palestine. The wicked thing of the natural rights of the one people can only occur through the denial of natural rights so of the other. Thus, why two-state solution will result in true or more pitiful Palestinian Bantustans, leave the Palestinians with Israel as second-class citizen, and abandon the diaspora together. On the other hand, one-state solution will put the boot of the one to another, with Jews with the unitary Palestinian being denied self-determination. They so translate claim. We offer a no-state solution. The only way out of the dilemma of Palestinian question is the abandonment of the concept of a nation-state. Natural oppression in Israel-Palestine can only be abolished if there are no national institutions to fight over and no state to suppress one nation on behalf of another. Obviously, it also necessarily entails rejection of capitalist system, which nation-state is an integral part, and which cannot exist without. liberation of Palestinian people without merely reversing the terms of oppression can only come out through a working revolution to abolish capitalism, completely make the land and all social resources economy property of all, abolishing inequality and all forms of oppression. Given the present situation in Israel/Palestine, there is not on an immediate agenda. It does not deny the necessity of the solution. In practical circumstances, the initiate will have to come from outside through workers' revolution in surrounding Arab countries. Most importantly, Egypt, which has a large working class already, is essential, however, for those workers' revolution to transcend the nationalism and country which transcends its only internationalism and cosmopolitanism, which will allow the workers to defeat their own capitalist rulers. It is only internationalism and cosmopolitanism which will allow every worker to reach out in friendship with the workers of Israel, and only internationalism and cosmopolitanism can break Israel working class with Zionist rulers. Anarchist communism is the answer. Things before the works of Palestine and Israel is thus no different from the task here. It's only to be conducted in the more difficult circumstance. We must build a working class movement based on liberty, equality, and solidarity, and fight for a revolution that will remake society on the same principle. We must abolish capitalism at every state. We must recognize the fully building another state in this way. We must build anarchist communism, just like the example in Rojava.